Thank you for joining us here today for Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. Doug Austin will be here with the details about SALT. Our city planner, Ryan Shrimplin, will be sharing with us about the vision for the city, and Danny Essner will be elaborating on his community involvement. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
You don't want to hear just a lecture. You need to get in there and do the work. At Southeast Missouri State University, you'll perform on stage to sold-out crowds. Lead a technology edvolution in your own classroom. Whatever you do here, you will never do it alone. Because at Southeast, we'll never tell you what you can't do. We are here to show you all that you can do.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. We are joined by Doug Austin, a representative for SALT, or Seniors and Lawmen Together. The organization's goal is to connect seniors and law enforcement officers. Doug, thanks so much for coming today.
Well, I appreciate the invitation. I'm excited about being here.
Good. Well, so elaborate a little bit more on the acronym of SALT. What exactly, I mean, I get seniors and law enforcement, but what is the real meaning behind that?
Well, think of two groups of people, senior citizens and law enforcement. Our mission in life is to be a positive connection for senior citizens and members of the law enforcement community. We want that to be a friendly relationship. We want that to be a trusting relationship. So many times today when you deal with law enforcement, it's at a time of high emotional stress. You had a speeding ticket, your car was burglarized, your house was broken into. It was a highly emotional event. That's not the time to establish a relationship. We want the relationship between senior citizens and law enforcement to be excellent in all areas so that they never hesitate to contact a member of law enforcement. Whatever your question is, call law enforcement because they're there to help.
Okay, so what is the organization doing in order to facilitate those relationships?
We do three major events every year. One event coming up in December is the one we call our Fun and Games. We have a Christmas party. We have a Christmas celebration for the senior citizens in Cape Girardeau County. There's no charge. There's no reservations forms to fill out. All you have to do is show up. And you show up, and for about 3 hours, we will entertain. We'll sing Christmas carols. We'll love on you. We'll congratulate you. We'll brag on you. We have door prizes for everyone that attends, and then we'll say, God bless you, and send you home. But it is just an event for about 30 of our law enforcement personnel and probably 400 senior citizens to interact with each other in a very pleasant, friendly atmosphere.
All right, so that's a lot of senior citizens. How are you connecting with that many in this community?
Word of mouth is probably the strongest strongest position that we take on spreading the word. We have some of the greatest volunteers in Cape Girardeau County and Cape Girardeau. Those people that I call our providers and our vendors that interact with senior citizens. Those people, we work with about 32 of those organizations that help us spread that word. We do a senior information day every year. This is our program to educate senior citizens. And for the last 3 years, we've concentrated on educating seniors. Are you smarter than a scam artist?
Oh, right.
Because our senior citizens are the target for scam artists. Lots of reasons. The main reason is we were taught, my generation was taught, you never hang up on someone on the phone.
Right.
Well, today, the first thing you hear, if a scam artist called you, hang up.
Right.
My mother would roll over in her grave if I started hanging up on people. They know that, so they work on us strong. We do a program that, and again, no reservations. All you do is show up, we feed you a free lunch, and we put on about 4 hours, about 2 hours worth of an educational meeting, and 2 hours interacting with about 32 vendors that show up with their programs that will make quality of life improvement for senior citizens. We do, young detective Orrin Hawkins did a program on area scams this year. The Sergeant Cody Windenbigger did a program for the Cape County Sheriff's Department on what to do in an active shooter situation. Ryan Shepling did a Ryan Shepling, I've got Ryan on the brain, wasn't Ryan Shep. Brian Henning did a program on Medicare questions and answers, but senior citizens come away from there with in-hand contacts of where they can go for help, whether it's first call for help, rehab for the blind, community caring council. The Jackson Senior Center was there this year with their list of 40 programs that's available for senior citizens. That's our flagship pride and joy, to educate senior citizens.
All right, so how are you getting the officers involved in this? I mean,
we have
them.
Lieutenant Amy Reynolds with the Missouri State Highway Patrol that's on our council. Captain Scott Akers from Jackson is the president of SALT this year. He leads our group. Jack Wimp, Assistant Chief of Police here in town, is on our council. The High Sheriff, John Jordan, is on our council. So we start out with the leadership of the law enforcement agencies that are in SALT and have been in SALT for many, many years. So they already have that love, that knowledge, that very firm confidence that this program works. Then we go from there, and through word of mouth, we pick up senior citizens that really want to be involved, really want to work, really want to help. So word of mouth is our best. We do good work, and when you do good work, that has a tendency to spread.
So how are you, word of mouth is great, absolutely. I know that there will be people who will see this program and they'll think to themselves, well, how do I get in touch with that? How do I get my mother involved, or how do I get my grandmother involved because she doesn't know anyone in law enforcement? You know, how do they reach the SALT organization to get that connection going?
There's a premature, gray-headed, slightly overweight young man named Doug Austin that's the recording secretary, and his information is on most everything we distribute.
Okay.
My phone number, 450-1551.
And you're willing to just hand it right out there?
I will talk to you on the phone. I will come and see you. I will come after you, because we want improvement. If we can put one senior citizen in their home for the next year, as opposed to going into a nursing home. God bless nursing homes, they do a great job. But if we can keep a senior citizen at home for that quality of life that they enjoy, that's our mission in life.
What would you say is the biggest benefit for those officers who participate in the program?
Peace of mind, knowing that the senior community, and there's still a lot of us. In fact, the percentages, I think we vote more than any other block age group there is out there. But peace of mind knowing that this segment of society that's in the majority support their causes. One way we do that also, the third thing we do every year, we do a law enforcement memorial every year at Cape Bible Chapel. Host that for us. God bless Cape Bible Chapel. But they host that for us every year to honor the memory of the 49, that's 49 police officers that have been killed in the line of duty from this area. We do that every year to honor their memory, not how they died, but how they lived and how they made that ultimate sacrifice that you and I could do what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for that, we couldn't be here doing this.
I smile when I talk to you because you are one of the most enthusiastic seniors that I know. You're passionate about your community, and I know that you're passionate about law enforcement, and we could sit here for a half an hour and talk, but we're only one segment. Thank you for what you're doing.
There's enough doom and gloom in the world without me participating.
Well,
I choose to take the high road, and thank you for having me on, and thank you for letting me talk about seniors and law enforcement together.
Absolutely. SALT, that's Doug Austin. Well, we've been chatting with, as you know, Doug Austin from Seniors and Lawmen Together. Thanks again for coming by. On the way, you will get to know Cape Girardeau City Planner Ryan Shrimplin. That's next on Cape Chronicle.
You can sing in the shower and doodle in the margins of a notebook for the rest of your life, or you can push your creativity to center stage and develop the skills to back it up. At Southeast Missouri State University, you can surround yourself with minds that are as creative and weird and beautiful as yours, at a campus dedicated exclusively to the arts, with classmates who share your passion and faculty who know the industry. You've got talent. Let's see what you got.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
It's going to be hard work, but you've never let that stop you. At Southeast Missouri State, we put that will to do to work for you. You won't just learn in lectures. You'll get your hands dirty, your skills strengthened, and whatever you do, you won't be going it alone. You can do this because you earn everything you get, and what you'll earn here will pay off out there.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. Ryan Shrimplin is the city planner for Cape Girardeau, and he's here to share some info about the future plans for our city, especially Vision 2020. Now, Ryan, I had never heard this term before. So what exactly is Vision 20? Did I say 2020?
2040.
2040. What is 2040?
Cape Vision 2040 is the name of the new comprehensive planning process being led by the City of Cape Girardeau. But it is a public process, but the city facilitates it. We've retained a consultant to help us develop the plan. There is a current comprehensive plan. It was adopted about 10 years ago, but a lot's changed in that time. And so we felt that it was time to bring that plan up to date. And so we did hire a consultant, and we've just got it started in the process, but I'd be happy to talk about it.
Absolutely, because you know, the city makes all these plans, but businesses come in and start developing things, and that might change and shift things a little bit. Then you have population growth, and my goodness, the number of students enrolled at Southeast every year continues to climb, so we have to kind of adjust for that. So what are some of the specific ways that the city, that you all see the city changing over time and through this Vision 2040 making that happen?
Well, to expand on the plan, a comprehensive plan is a long-range plan for the future growth and development of the city. Some refer to it as a blueprint for the future. So this is really intended to look holistically at the city in terms of not just land use and development, but also transportation, infrastructure, public facilities, institutions, education. It's intended to really look at it as a whole. Parks and recreation certainly are a part of that. So, you know, as far as looking forward to the future, that's what gets developed in the process, is finding out what does the community think Cape is going to be like over the next 20 years, or 2040 is where we've set it. But it looks to see from citizens, stakeholders, businesses, institutions, organizations, what do they see in the years ahead for Cape Girardeau? That's the first part. The second part is, what would they like to see? And that's where the visioning really comes in, and the purpose of the plan. It's to look at what do we want Cape Girardeau to be by the year 2040. And so that process, it starts with the consultant, of course, meeting the city staff, meeting the committee that's responsible for developing the plan, doing interviews with stakeholders, again, major community representatives, which could include, you know, businesses, institutions, community service organizations, neighborhoods. So that is the kind of the initial, what they call the kickoff of the process. And at that same time is when the consultant is gathering a lot of data. They're looking to find all kinds of plans that are already in existence, getting demographic, socioeconomic information, And they're compiling all that information in addition to the initial input that they receive from the staff, from the committee, and from the stakeholders. Once they have that information, then it's time to begin what they call the public engagement, which is where the community as a whole is invited to come participate in a series of events to share their input as to what they think about Cape, and specifically what's their big idea for Cape over the next several years. And so the public engagement plan includes a website and with a series of quick polls that are on specific topics intended to get information from the public in different areas that will affect the plan. And then also through these community events, they'll be having workshops with leading activities, exercises, again, all in the name of getting from the community as a whole input as to what they think of Cape and what they want Cape to be in the future.
So with Vision 2040, we're not quite to the point where, I mean, are we to the point where we actually have something that people are going to be seeing changing soon, or is this just the visioning stage? We're in the beginning stages of this visioning.
That's correct. Yeah, right now we're just in the visioning. A plan, of course, has a vision and goals, and so those will be developed through this public engagement process. Once that's established, then the consultant will, again, use the information that they've received through the data and all the plans they've looked at and all the input they've received, and do assessments, of course, market assessments, economic assessments, physical utility infrastructure assessments. So they'll be doing a lot of background work. And in the end, what they're going to do is present a series of scenarios for the future development of the city. And each of them will have a different focus. For example, one could focus on technology-oriented businesses and development. Another one could focus on growing and expanding housing choices. So those scenarios, they're different alternatives, and so those will be prepared, run by the staff and the committee. And then, again, there will be another series of public events where the public will be able to provide input regarding those scenarios and see how they compare to the vision and goals that they helped develop in the previous public engagement events, and then reach a consensus as to which scenarios they think ought to be incorporated into the plan. And then from there, they'll develop the plan.
So through this planning process and with the help of this consultant, I mean, as the steps are taken and, developments are realized as far as a plan goes, will there be some effort to reach out to businesses to participate in this, as the ones coming in to make this happen, I guess would be the way to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're looking to get input from everybody on this. So this is not any type of targeted, input. This is meant to represent the community as a whole. It's a collective vision of the community. So we really are trying to do what we can to get the word out about all the different opportunities for citizens and stakeholders to participate in the process. One of the things we have here is a card that was prepared that has information about some of the upcoming public engagement events. So we have these available at different city facilities, at the public library. We've given them to our partners, Old Town Cape and the Chamber of Commerce, and also to neighborhood groups. So we try to promote these opportunities through these cards and also through the city's media channels as well.
Right.
And you may
this
hear
would
about
be
it.
one of them.
Yes,
and
yes,
then
absolutely.
The local radio and television and, and print organizations will all be involved in. So they just need to watch for when those input sessions are going to be to make that happen. Well, it's all fascinating because I know that looking forward in the future, the mayor and the city manager's office and all of those components have all been working toward making Cape Girardeau better. So you, Ryan, are also a big part of that. Well, thank you so much.
I certainly hope to be. It's quite a privilege to be able to be involved in this process.
Well, that's exciting.
Very
all right,
grateful.
It's Vision 2040, not 2020. Thanks again to Ryan Shrimplin. After the break, we'll hear from Danny Essner. That's next on Cape Chronicle. This is Cape Chronicle, and I'm Audra Kane. We're now joined by Danny Essner, an interim councilman of Cape Girardeau. He's here to discuss his roles within the community, and he also serves with the Parks and Recreation Board and is recently retired from a career at Kappaha Bank. I'm flabbergasted to have you here because I didn't realize that you were an interim councilman, and I also didn't know you served on the Parks Board. But let's start with the Kappaha Bank end of it. How long have you been retired?
About 3 months.
Okay, and so are you enjoying your retirement? You picked up and like started doing stuff, didn't you?
I'm actually busier now than when I was working.
That's okay.
Everybody told me that would be the case, and I didn't believe them, but it's true.
Harry Rediger would have told you right off the bat that's what happens. Well, so let me ask you, let's go back again to the Kappaha Bank part of it, because how long were you with them?
About 16 years.
Okay, and so through that relationship with Kappaha Bank in the City of Cape Girardeau, do you feel like there were some areas that kind of prepped you for working with the city in I don't want to say in politics, but I mean, you're an interim councilman, so that's political. But was there something that you did there? Was there a relationship that you all had with the city that you felt like you wanted to continue that?
Well, there's a reason that you see a lot of bankers at chamber meetings. You know, that's really part of our business model, you know, is to get out and meet people, get acquainted with other business people. But I think people that are interested in choosing banking as a career, you know, tend to be interested in community projects as well. You know, I've always loved being involved with the community. I just love being around people and meeting people, and I'm passionate about Cape Girardeau, and all those things, you know, always motivated me to get involved.
Okay, so I didn't realize that you were an interim councilman. How did you end up in that position?
Now, I'd always thought about pursuing that when I retired, and Wayne Bowen was my councilman in my ward. He was also a friend of mine. I was his treasurer whenever he ran for city council. And when he found out he was moving, he asked me if I would consider filling his spot, hopefully long-term, but at a minimum on a temporary basis. And I told him that, you know, I'd try it out and see if I liked it, see if it worked out for me, and if it did, you know, then I'd pursue something longer term, and if it didn't, then I'd let somebody else take my spot in April of 2018.
So how's it working out for you?
It's taken a lot more time than I realized, and if I do anything, I want to do it right, and to do that job right takes a lot of time. And right now, I have two elderly parents. Both of them are in a nursing home, and that's taken a lot more of my time than I thought it would. And I don't know how much longer they're going to be around, but I need to spend as much time with them as I can.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, it is great to be a servant for the community, but you do have to put your family first. So I commend you on knowing that that's just as important, if not more so. So then what about your involvement with the board and Parks and Rec? Well, wait, let's back up just a second, because I want to ask you about that interim councilman position. Has there been anything that you didn't realize was happening that it kind of pulled back the curtain a little bit, you know, kind of Wizard of Oz thing for you, working with actually being a councilman?
There's really not been any surprises. There's a lot more information to digest than I realized. I have a newfound respect for the people that are on our city council. And we're fortunate, the ones that are on there now, you know, they take their job seriously. They invest a lot of time doing research, communicating with their constituents, getting involved in the different community activities. And that's what it takes to be effective.
Well, and I have to say I'm kind of sorry that you're not going to be able to continue to serve, because I think Cape Girardeau needs more people like you to step up and help to lead. So let's shift gears back again and go with Parks and Recreation Board. How did you end up involved with that? Was there a love for Parks and Rec that you had that led you to be on that board?
I'm actually not on the board now.
Okay.
I was on the board for 9 years. I was actually on the board when we passed the first Parks and Recs and stormwater tax, which was in 2008. I've been off the board for a while, but I'm still on the foundation board with Parks and Recs. I'm also involved with the group that is going to be promoting renewing our Parks and Recs tax in 2018.
Well, and that's an important one, because it
Absolutely.
helps fund something that remains free to everyone, you know, for everyone to enjoy. And we've made a lot of improvements.
Yes, we have.
Over the last couple of years.
You know, before we passed our Parks and Recs and stormwater tax in 2008, we didn't have a park tax, and so our Parks and Recs department particularly had always been underfunded. We had long-range plans that we could never implement because we didn't have any money. And I still remember whenever we pursued that, we met with the statewide director of Parks and Recs, and he said, "You're going to be surprised at how important quality of life is to your citizens. You know, you would think that people might not think that Parks and Recs was that important, but he said most people feel that it's very important, because that's a very key component of the quality of life of any community."
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's true, because when I talk about different surveys that come in, you know, on the radio, and I make jokes and things like that, but one of the things that always weighs into how the survey ends up is quality of life. All right, so I'm going to remind everyone who's watching this program to watch for that renewal of that tax coming up in 2018, right?
Yes.
Okay, and which election month is that?
April.
April. All right, so they need to watch for that. Thank you so much for coming by. It always flies by. I never feel like I have enough time to talk with people in depth, so we may end up talking again. So
well, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you for coming by. We've been talking with Danny Essner, who is an interim councilman for Cape Girardeau, but also been involved in the community for many years. Thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University and the City of Cape Girardeau. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audra Kane. Thanks for watching.